many of you will already know. I hope in a way that some of you don't know more, because then you've got the joy and surprise of hearing them read their work for the first time. So it's a bit like a kind of cabaret situation now. We're going to get I'm going to come on and introduce each poet in turn. But we also didn't know before, and we do now know, that this evening has turned into a wedding celebration. Because Nafisa and Honey got married today. Big up all newlyweds in this place. So if we weren't already celebrating with art and poetry, then we doubly are tonight. So welcome all the wedding guests. But you're not on yet. Oh, shut up, you're not on yet. First poet up this evening, who I hope some of you will already know, is Iona. Iona is a Year 12 student in King Edward VI Camp Hill School for Girls, Birmingham. When she was 8, she won the David Shepherd Wildlife Foundation Global Poetry Prize and was a global runner-up. Her poetry accolades include the Elmwood Trust Ted Hughes Young Poet Award, close to my heart, I'm a trustee of that organisation, the Foyle Young Poet Prize, the Stephen Spender Prize for Poetry and Translation, and the Tower Poetry Prize. She's been published extensively by the Young Poets Network and the Poetry Society London. She pursues Grade 8 Lambda in verse and prose speaking, and in 2022 performed at Shakespeare's Globe as a national finalist for the Poetry by Heart competition. She's a youth ambassador for the National Literacy Trust, and she is the present Birmingham Young Poet Laureate. She also undertakes poetry commissions and is working to popularise poetry among young people through school visits and workshops. She is an immensely impressive young person. She's also in Year 12, so she's just juggling this Poet Laureateship with a day job. Ted Hughes never did that. If you've seen her work online, the seriousness with which she's taken this and the sort of generosity with which she is trying to take poetry off its ludicrous pedestal out of the academy and take it to people, particularly young people, and explain that it's a form that they can use and identify with. And she's doing all this with real charm and a sparkling intellect and a prodigious natural talent. It's very exciting to be able to hear you read. Please welcome Birmingham Young Poet Laureate Iona.
Good evening, everyone. Before I begin, I'd just like to take a moment to express how excited I am to be here today, sharing a platform with such a prolific author, and I'm deeply thankful to the National Literacy Trust for inviting me to such a wonderful event, particularly Laura and Kyle for being so helpful. And I'd also like to thank Lisa Baker and Sophie Clark from Faber for being kind enough to send me a copy of Shy to read. I really enjoyed Shy for its emotional vulnerability, its rawness and authenticity. So today I'd like to read a number of my poems as a tribute to this masterfully written book. Much of this book deals with the troubling and turbulent aspects of youth, with the pangs of this harrowing process described as, and I quote, "a roll of barbed wire scrunched inside me, scraping underneath, all day, every day." Shy frequently struggles with emotional regulation, and I was particularly in awe of the visceral intensity Max brings out in his words, portraying Shy's thoughts as, and I quote, "lopping along in odd repetitive chunks, running at him, stumbling. Feels brave, feels pathetic, feels nothing. Panic, calm." And so I'd like to begin with a poem about what youth means to me. Youth. Youth is remembering that kindergarten crayon river and wondering when it all began to turn to mud. Learning that the sky isn't always blue or confined to the unreachable heights of sugar paper. That like stars, goodness is not always visible, but will make itself known when all else is dark. Youth is being free in a way, yet constrained in another. like frolicking carefree in an open garden, but suddenly cuffed on discovering a sign. Keep off the grass. Youth is the incubation of rage curled in your belly, of too many barriers, yet so many possibilities. It's making a guess whilst knowing an answer. It's pretending to be and being to pretend. It's pressing your nose against a mirror, knowing that the distant future-looking you will soon be exiled from comfort. It's lilting within infinite dreams, but not being able to fulfill them. It's drowning in fear of impending dangers, yet swimming in hope. Shy's journey is very evidently about grappling with brokenness and learning to tolerate oneself if not feeling acceptance. I quote, "Strange clouds lit neon blue by the moon, bumped like an acne tube, fleshy. The solid world dissolves, then coheres, like broken sleep, and he shambles into it, remembering." My poem is about the Japanese art form of kintsugi, which involves repairing broken objects with liquid gold in connection with the worldview centered on the acceptance of transience, imperfection, and the beauty found in simplicity. Kintsugi. No one heard a sound as mother's once in a blue moon swan-necked Grecian vase hit the ground. Its faint turquoise depth, uneven rose glow at the edge, lay on deathbed, shattered in fragments, as I stood aghast, hands bruised from remnants. Women dancing with lyres by the river, resting in smithereens on the floor, their grip on grapes held, lost in their fingers. Swaying hips stuck in motion, half-broken smiles, crying for help. I had just killed a civilization, mocking it with my fingers. Once a city, hard to believe, now a mosaic in ruins, ravaged to the ground. Emptiness had never felt so heavy before, yet feeding the scars with golden ambrosia dripping from fingertips, gratefulness in fillings, crisscrossing in crooks and crannies, indulging to perfection each dent. I made each splinter rise, revive, and enliven in soft, hushed whispers, as if not to frighten. Arose unequal music from the lyres, lips smiled in gentleness. The river flowed again through crazed, apparently irrevocable breaks, distilling the pain, drop by drop, in nuggets of gold, as if molded by the gods or civilizations to cradle. Healed, the cracks glistened beautiful again. Life renewed, stronger and alive, its imperfections embraced in treasuring the truth of asymmetry, in the recognition of completeness in brokenness. Finally, I'd like to end on a poem which discusses the idea of finding home within familiarity and beauty within the intimate. Despite Shy's battles with youth, family, and brokenness, he manages to find beauty in the unexpected, often comforted by nostalgia. I quote, "The sky is brightening, warming pinkish and soft. It could almost be evening. It makes Shy feel cozy and invited, 10 years old. Like Shy, my poem is about finding composure within silence and solace within solitude. Autumn afternoon in All Saints. I arrive at All Saints on a late autumn afternoon, the fading sun accompanying me in the spirit of a retiree, not by Google Maps, but by instinct. My feet carry me around. All Saints Church with its high ceiling, a mist of solitude. The perimeter of its square, a playground of freedom from walking on straight lines, giving the space its shape. The headstones stand patchy. I can hardly read the names. I have a sense of grass wedged between the stones I cannot see. I presume how certain shapes would have invited the morning light. Leaning against the wall, the trellis supports the creepers, like a parent offering a hand to their little child to cross a road. Pigeons arrive to greet me, hopscotching in a game of hide and seek. The shops are all closed now. Streets empty from Saturday shoppers. Headless mannequins stand quiet, cosmetics promising nutty glamour. Cakes, tarts and pies left over, assuring nourishment. Sitting on a bench in the square while resting my spine, I wait for it to be peopled, as God must have while populating the world. I only get an index of human presence, like the meaning in poems, they are somewhere else. No, I am not waiting for Godot, but for strangers to become family, bricks from faraway kilns to build new homes. I'd like to end with a quote from Shy, which I particularly love. I quote, "It's getting light. The house is soft orange and the low sky is bulging with pink fluff. There's a blue hugeness above him. Beautiful," says the smaller badger. Shy lies on his side, curls into a pause on the lawn, and closes his eyes.